Welcome back. Welcome back to another monthly wrap up. August has passed, the months have started. It is September, it is autumn. Well, I'm very happy about that. Let's talk about what I watched and read last month in August. And this is kind of embarrassing because not only did I post a summer TBR on here, I also posted a reading list on here, and I also posted those same pieces of content on TikTok, and I did like a summer haul, and I didn't read that much this summer. I didn't read a single book in July, and I read 2 books in August, which is fine, but I usually read a lot in summer. I think last August I read 15 books and this August I read 2. But let's talk about those because they were both really good reads, and they were part of my summer TBR. And you can clearly tell if you go back that I was most excited about these, and that is just proven by the fact that I've actually read those. And the first book I read in August, in like the middle of August, was Sunburn by Chloe Michelle Howarth. I started this when I was in Amsterdam, and then I finished it when I got back home. And this was such a good read. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you, but I underlined so much. Like, absolutely obsessed with her writing style. And I just recently saw that she's coming out with like a more gothic leaning book, if I remember correctly, and that sounds right up my alley, so I will have to pick that up because I'm obsessed with the writing style. This is 100% a 5-star. Like, there's no question. I love this. This was so heartbreaking and so beautiful and so tender, and it really, I didn't cry, but I could have cried, you know? Let me read you the synopsis first. It's the early 1990s. In the Irish village of Crossmore, 15-year-old Lucy feels out of place. Despite her fierce friendships, she's always felt this way, and the conventional path of marriage and motherhood doesn't appeal to her at all. Not even with handsome and doting Martin, her closest childhood friend. Lucy begins to make sense of herself during a long, hot summer when the spark with her school friend Susanna escalates to an all-consuming infatuation, and, very quickly, to a desperate and devastating love. Fearful of rejection from her small conservative community, Lucy begins living a double life, hiding the most honest parts of herself in stolen moments with Susanna. But with the end of school and there's so much traffic outside, my god. But with the end of school and the opportunity to leave Crossmore looming, Lucy must choose between 2 places, 2 people, 2 futures, each as terrifying as the other. Only one can offer real happiness. This just felt so honest and true and very human, and I'm sure this is inspired by many queer experiences from the 90s, because it was absolutely heartbreaking. The yearning and the obsessing with a childhood best friend turns lover, and then totally being stuck in a very religious and strict household and town, and trying to escape that, but also not wanting to lose your family. And I think balancing both of those is like the hardest thing ever. And this author really understood that and really showcased how difficult and traumatizing growing up queer in such an environment is. And I thought it was so well done. I can also read you the first line. Like, obsessed. I loved it so much. June 1989. Now is the time between birth and slaughter. Another summer has arrived. I spend my days waiting for something to happen. Something glorious, even something tragic. Nothing ever happens. It's hard in the countryside when there's nothing to do and nowhere to go. Obsessed. Maybe. And while I was reading this in Amsterdam, I was surrounded by my friends, and I had like to read them a few lines because I was like, oh my fucking god, I need to talk about this with someone right now because it was so crazy. Let me read you this. It's in the beginning, so it should be fine. But I think everyone should hear this. I think I would be the microbes in the beef that her body seeks and destroys if it meant she would be paying me even the slightest bit of attention. The warmth and the wet of her mouth, what a thought to think. How suddenly and vehemently I think it, and how hot my cheeks are. It makes perfect sense to want to be inside her mouth, to be torn to pieces by her, until I catch myself wanting it, and I am shocked. I am disgusted. I almost laugh at my own absurdity. That wasn't me at all, just a bad notion that got into my head to make trouble. that wasn't me who thought that. What a weird feeling. Very discreetly, I bless myself and hope to be forgiven, and I hope that I never feel anything so inexplicable or strong again. The sunburn. And like I said, absolutely obsessed with the writing style. I flew through this like nothing. I think this is such an incredible in-depth perception of the queer experience, and like I said before, how religious trauma and family pressure and small town pressure goes hand in hand with all of that, and how difficult it is. If you want a queer summer book, this is it. This is not necessarily a romance book. Well, there is a lot of romance in it, and it's beautifully depicted. While it is very obsessive, it's still very beautiful. It's very much so more a character study, and like I said, how all of that affects one person and the decisions you make and the decisions you regret. And the second and last book I read is Sunstruck by William Rafet Hunter. And first of all, I'm forever going to be obsessed with this cover. It's so stunning. Love. This is again a queer summer book. While this also has a lot of romance, it's also very much not a romance book. Let's read you the synopsis first, and then I'll tell you my thoughts. It's summer, and a young man walks through the gates of a luxurious mansion in the south of France. At the dinner table, the Blake siblings await him. Lily, his carefree friend from university, Dot, the rebellious younger sister, and Felix, handsome, charismatic, and guarded. Between sun-drenched days spent lounging by the pool and nights blurring into endless, opulent parties, the man is captivated by Felix's restless allure. As his desire grows, the chance to become part of the family and their world of money and power starts to feel within reach. But the idyllic haze of summer fades as they return to London, and the cracks in the Blake's careful facade begin to show. With both men tormented by demons of their own, their bond is increasingly tested and pulled apart at the seams. Their secrets and the choices they make will change not only their lives, but the future of those around them. Knowing what I know now, I definitely... this is not... like, there's a lot of romantic themes, especially in the first part of this book, because there's like this relationship blossoming between the men. But I do think, after reading the reviews, a lot of people really actually thought this is like a gay romance book, which this is not it. This is literary fiction, and it's about a lot more deeper things than romance. While I'm not diminishing the romance genre, this is much more than that. It's about racism, it's about fitting in, and it's about pressure, and it's about a lot of traumatic things that happen to each side of the coins. They're all horrible people, but they're all also very lovable, and you also fall for the facade that this family has put up, and you fall for their very obnoxious richness, but they're still, you know, have their ways and their attractiveness, and they pull you in, just like this character, this unnamed character is. And while he gets wronged by them and by so many other people in the system and the world and society so fucking many times, he's also not a good person. And I think that's what's so real and human about this book, is that they all make a lot of mistakes, and these mistakes are like much more broader and drastic because they're well-known people and they're rich people, and so what they do affect a lot more people, and it's not just a small mistake like in your everyday daily life. And because our main protagonist gets pulled into that world, his mistakes also do a lot more damage than they usually would. And then also there's that part of racism and culture. It was such a insightful read and educational, and I was also mad at the characters because they were making mistake after mistake, and just not even mistakes, they were just choosing to be horrible people all the time. And there were some wonderful side characters, like the main character's best friend. She was so nice, she was so lovely. That is Sunstruck, yeah. I think this is maybe like a 4.5, theoretically a 5. It just felt like the ending was a little bit rushed, but this is a debut, and I'm really excited for what this author does next, and I will be reading it. And yeah, I'm very glad I read this, and if any of the things I mentioned speak to you, pick it up. The characters felt so thought out, like every single character. I knew why they were doing what they were doing. I didn't agree with the choice, but I knew why they were doing it, you know? And then also for Felix, some of the things he did, I was just like, fucking hell, someone smack him in the head with a book. But he's also been traumatized. You know, it's that sort of thing where you're like so conflicted because you get why they're doing it, but it's absolutely horrifying that they're doing it. That sounds right. It does have that very sultry summer feel to it, especially in the first part. And the second part, we're in London, it still has that feeling, but it's very different settings. But I think both of them very well done. And can't wait to see what William Hunter does next. Only 2 books, but they were both really good reads, so quality over quantity is what I'm telling myself. And I don't think it's important to read many books. It's just surprising to me because I usually read a lot in summer. I'm hoping it picks up more in autumn now. Yeah, the first 2 movies were rewatches. I watched these while packing for my Amsterdam trip and while like taking care of things, cleaning and reorganizing my bedroom, you know. And so I just put on stuff that I knew I was going to like. And those choices were Hotel Transylvania, the first one. And if you don't know what Hotel Transylvania is about, it's an animated movie following Dracula and his daughter and him, you know, that classic thing of like parents not knowing when to let go of their children, and also monsters hiding away from humans because they hate each other and then realizing they actually don't hate each other, you know. This is from 2012, starring Adam Sandler, Andy Samberg, Selena Gomez, Kevin James. It's packed. I don't know, I just really liked these movies as a kid and I just really wanted something silly to get my mind off of things, and this worked its job perfectly well. And same with the next one. My comfort Spider-Man movie is Far From Home. I'll always put it on if I want to watch like something comforting, maybe even a Marvel movie, and I just want to like, you know, slow down, take my mind a little bit away, and also just enjoy the vibes. I wanted like a little European summer vibe. It's from 2019, starring Tom Holland, Zendaya, Samuel L. Jackson, Jake Gyllenhaal, Marissa Tomei, many great people, Jacob Baton. I love this movie. I have been, ever since last summer, on a little bit of a Ghibli studio, I never know how to pronounce it, movie watching list that I'm working through. I lost a sentence in the middle of that. Mainly because 2 of my very good friends are very much obsessed with them and they wanted to show me the movies, so they showed me the movies. And so far I've watched Arrietty, Kiki's Delivery Service, House Moving Castle, and the 4th one I just watched, also with those friends, was Spirited Away from 2001. I think from all of the ones that I just mentioned, this is my least favorite, but I still very liked it. I thought that the dragon, what the fuck is his name? I really can't remember. Anyway, him and Chihiro, really loved their characters. They were really sweet, and the dragon is just really cunty and beautiful. Sorry. And like with all of the Ghibli movies, of course, this was stunning, absolutely wonderfully crafted, like the animations, gorgeous. I think based on vibes, Arrietty might be my favorite, just I love the set design. But also Kiki's Delivery Service, and also House Moving Castle, based on a storyline. So they all have their own reason of why to love them. And this one I just dislike the most, just because I've always been scared of No Face. This is just generally the most disgustingly haunting movie out of the ones I've seen so far. And the next movie was actually the first time I've ever went to a drive-in cinema, which was such a nice experience. Like, the vibes were really there. They were really the slasher summer I wanted was delivered through a little bit of that. And I'm usually not much of a horror movie watcher. Like, I have very specific horror movies that I do watch, but I'm like not into the scary mainstream horror. I protect my peace for that way too much. But the movie I watched was Weapons 2025, directed by Zach Cregger, starring Julia Garner, Josh Brolin, Alden Ehrenreich, Austin Abrams, Benedict Wong, many people. I don't really know how to tell you what Weapons is about without giving anything away. But just what is depicted in the trailer is that there's a small town and an entire student class goes missing of like little kids. I think they're like 10 to 12 something in there, maybe even smaller, I don't know. And they all vanished at the same exact time, that being showcased through like surveillance cameras and in like house door cameras, and they all go missing except for one kid and the teacher of that class. And then it's basically this whole thing of who done it. We switch between perspective and we all come together to meet the perspective when, you know, all those characters meet and how they cross paths, and find out who or what was the cause of those kids going missing, and if they're alive and where they are, and you know, that sort of story. And I really like this. I went into it not expecting much, because I saw a lot of reviews that of people that I trust when it comes to movies that didn't like it, but then again, I follow a lot of people who also liked it. I just saw a lot of people be a little bit upset about the main villain choice in here, and while I totally agree, I actually really agree, because I don't want to give it away, but you know, there's a lot of reasons why I agree with those people. I do think the choice makes a lot of sense considering the interpretations and the symbolism in this movie, going back to like the original evil that people have always feared. You know, I hope I didn't spoil it. I think it made sense. I think they maybe could have given a bit more detail. Well, I love watching movies that need to be interpreted. I think sometimes you maybe need to give a little bit more hint, but also maybe not. Maybe don't have the mainstream public understand unless they do their research. Because there's a lot of things you could pull from this. You could say it's about school shootings. You could say it's about satanic panic. You could say it's about kids slipping through the system, and there's a lot of different routes to take with this, but it all comes together in the movie title, which is Weapons. I rated this 3 out of 5. It's a really good 3, might even be like a 3.5. And now, having lived with it, maybe 4 stars. I'm not too sure, but I thought it was beautifully crafted. Like, I really am a fan of the perspective switching that they did. It just really felt like there was something missing, and I've just generally seen better movies, but this was still a very solid, good movie that I do recommend you watch if you're interested. And also, if you've seen this movie, there's this one specific scene that takes place surrounding and in a car, and watching that in a drive-in cinema was so scary. Then I started my Summerween/Halloween watching, which I started with A Nightmare on Elm Street, which I've always wanted to watch, and Weapons and this one I watched with one and the same friend who loves horror, so this was nothing for her. But actually realizing I didn't rate the next 2 movies. Anyway, we watched the original 1984 Nightmare on Elm Street, directed by Wes Craven, starring Heather Langenkamp, Robert Englund, Johnny Depp, John Saxon, and this was so fun. I miss 80s horror so much. This is like the one, like I said, niche horror that I do really enjoy, is 80s horror, because they're so campy and fun, and I just really like the fresh storylines from back then, and they just obviously also have that nostalgia feel to it, like they all do from the 80s. But I really like this, and I actually didn't know anything about the storyline, which was so surprising. I remember as a kid I was always very scared of Freddy, but I didn't know anything about him other than what he looked like, and I thought the storyline was very well done. I also never connected the dots of the movie being called A Nightmare on Elm Street, and it actually being about nightmares being used as a form to murder people. Didn't know anything about that, so I was very surprised. Freddy having like a little bit of a theme song whenever he showed up was so cunty, and generally he was so cunty. Not scared of him anymore. This wasn't scary at all. I thought the concept was really scary, especially because I had like crazy nightmares all throughout my life. But I really fucking like this. 100% of 5 star. I really like this. I watched another very iconic movie that I'm actually going to have to watch the sequel that just came out like maybe this week. And it's I Know What You Did Last Summer from 1997, directed by Jim Gillespie. I don't know, but this obviously just came up with the sequel. I haven't looked at any of the reviews of the sequel because I want to watch it first on my own, because I'm realizing I need to make up my mind on my own before seeing any reviews as much as possible. And I've always known about this movie, and I knew the main girlie, Jennifer Love Hewitt, of course. Love her to death. She's so gorgeous and she's so talented, and I've seen her in a lot of things. But I didn't know this stars Sarah Michelle Gellar as well. My girl, my queen Buffy. I didn't know. I'm like surprised I didn't know. Maybe I knew, but I forgot. Taken aback, I was like, oh my god, it's my girl. And also Freddie Prinze Jr., Ryan Felipe. Yeah, I really like this. I always love a little, drama friend group. Someone gets murdered and they have to cover it up and they're all really anxious about it. And a lot of things go wrong and you don't know who knows what. I just really like 80s and 90s horror. And this one especially, the way it started with, I forget which song was playing, but the opening scene with the sea and the song. Perfect choice. And I just really like the coloring and the dramatics of it all. And of course I love Sarah Michelle Gellar, so this was wonderful. And then we have 2 more movies, which were both rewatches. I rewatched Corpse Bride with a friend who hadn't seen it before, and I love Corpse Bride so much. It's very basic, but it's one of my favorite Tim Burton movies. I think the storyline is so well done. It's so sad and heartbreaking, and it's beautifully made. Every time Emily shows up, I'm taken aback. And this is from 2005, Mike Johnson, Tim Burton, Johnny Depp, Helena Bonham Carter, Emily Watson, like every single Tim Burton movie. And if you have never seen Corpse Bride, I beg of you to do it. It's so wonderful, and the songs are so great, and even the non-vocal songs are so great. Like Danny Elfman just knows music. He just knows music, and which is so exciting because he's doing music for a new Dracula that's coming out. I think it's a French production, which I recently found out that he's doing the music for that. Thrilled. And just for the scenery, it's always moonlit, it's always blue and gorgeous and gothic, and it's just stunning. It's so ethereal as well. And the last rewatch I also rewatched because I wanted to show it to my sister, because I needed someone to feel and talk to me about this, because I don't know anyone who's seen it. And it was a rewatch of the musical Next to Normal, the Pro Shot, and this is from this year, directed by Michael Longhurst and Austin Shaw, starring Casey Levi, Jamie Parker, Eleanor Worthington Cox, and Jack Wolf. I've been obsessed with Jack ever since he was announced to be casted in Shadow and Bone. Rip Shadow and Bone. Like seriously, very upset about that still. And been obsessed with him ever since. And I watched this for the first time like 2 or 3 months ago. And then I had to rewatch, and I cried my eyes out, and my sister really enjoyed it, and that's what it's about. And while we're talking about musicals, I also went to watch Hadestown this month in Amsterdam, which was the most magical and dreamy experience I've ever had. I've loved Hadestown for a long while, and I'm obsessed with Greek mythology, and I love musicals, and I was with one of my closest friends, and we had the most wonderful time ever, and I cried my eyes out. And a few days prior, Jack Wolf got announced to play Orpheus in Hadestown and Broadway, which I won't be attending because I obviously not in New York, which come to the West End right the fuck now, Jack. But yeah, just a little bit of more things I saw because I watched Hadestown, which I can't believe I've seen it. And the Amsterdam cast might be my favorite cast, and that's it. Please let me know if you read or watched any of these, and also let me know what you read or watched this month. What was your favorite? And let's pray and hope we all do a bit more reading the next few months, because it's autumn